Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. So, if you've ever tried to build an AI agent, you probably know the feeling. It can feel a lot like experimental science, right? Kind of messy, a little unpredictable, and just not always a straight line from A to B. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if building and testing and actually deploying these really sophisticated AI agents felt more like, well, regular software engineering, structured, reliable? Well, a new framework from Google is trying to do exactly that. And today, we're going to unpack it. And this is it. It's called the Agent Development Kit, or ADK for short. It's an open source framework, and its whole mission is to bring those familiar ideas from software development, modularity, predictability, structure, into the world of AI agents. The goal here isn't just to build cool one-off prototypes. It's about building robust, production-ready systems. So, to really get how it works, we're going to go on what I'm calling a builder's journey. First, we'll look at the basic framework. Then, we'll meet the specialized agent workers. After that, we'll see how you assemble them into a working team, check out their toolbox, and finally, figure out how to launch our creation into the world. Okay, so first things first. Every great project needs a crew, right? A workshop needs its specialists. And in ADK, these are your agents. It's best to think of them as individual experts, each one designed for a very specific kind of job. Out of the box, ADK gives you three main types of agent workers to build with. First up, you've got the LLM agent. This is your creative powerhouse, your flexible thinker. It's powered by an LLM, so it's great for dynamic tasks, but its behavior isn't always predictable. Then you've got the workflow agent. This is your foreman, your project manager. It controls the flow of work. Do this, then that, or do these things at the same time. It's deterministic, it's predictable, and it doesn't need a big LLM just to orchestrate things. And finally, there's the custom agent. This is your master craftsperson. You build it from scratch to handle any kind of unique, specialized logic that you can cook up. All right, so individual specialists are great, but the real power, the real magic, kicks in when they start to collaborate. So let's look at how ADK helps you assemble these individuals into a seriously high-performing team. The two most basic plays in the playbook are pretty simple. First, you have a sequential agent. This is just like an assembly line. One agent does its job, finishes, and passes the work on to the next one in line. Simple. Then you have the parallel agent, which is more like a brainstorming session. You get a bunch of agents all working on different parts of the problem at the very same time. Now, theory is great, but let's look at a real example to see how this all clicks together. This is from the ADK documentation itself. It's called the Story Flow Agent, and its own description tells you everything you need to know. It's basically a manager for a whole team of agents whose job is to write a story, critique it, and polish it up. So how does this story writing team actually operate? Well, first, an LLM agent acts as the author. It generates the first draft of a story. Then, a loop agent, which is a type of workflow agent, kicks off a feedback cycle. It has other agents critique the story and revise it over and over until it hits a certain quality bar. Finally, a sequential agent takes over for the final polish, running things like grammar checks and tone analysis. It's a beautiful multi-agent pipeline. But wait, how are all these different agents passing the story back and forth? How do they communicate? They do it using something called shared session state. The easiest way to think about ctx.session.state is as a shared clipboard for the whole team. One agent, say the writer, copies the draft of the story onto this clipboard. The next agent, the critic, reads it from the clipboard, does its work, and then pastes the updated version right back. This is the simple yet powerful communication channel that holds the whole team together. Okay, so we've got our team of workers, and we know how they talk to each other. Now for the really fun part. Let's look at their toolbox. A huge feature of ADK is its flexibility, giving you what I like to call pluggable brains and universal tools to give your agents pretty much any skill you can imagine. Now, this is huge for developers. ADK is model agnostic. That means you are not locked into any single ecosystem. Of course, it's optimized to work great with Google's Gemini models, but you can easily plug in models from Anthropic, from OpenAI, or even open source models that you're running locally on your own machine. It's all handled by a clever compatibility wrapper called LiteLLM. You get to choose the right brain for the job. And what about their skills? Well, in ADK, a tool can be almost anything you want it to be. Seriously, It could be a simple Python function that just adds 2 numbers. It could be another agent that specializes in a totally different task. Or it could be an entire toolset that's automatically generated from something like an open API spec, letting your agent talk to pretty much any external web service out there. So, you've designed your framework, you've assembled your team, you've stocked their toolbox. The final and arguably most important step on our builder's journey is the launch. This is about taking your agent system from just code on your laptop to a real, scalable, production-grade application. And ADK is built for this from the ground up. It gives you clear, direct paths to run your agents on Google Cloud. You could use the Vertex AI Agent Engine, which is a fully managed option for easy scaling. You could deploy it as a container on Cloud Run for that serverless simplicity. Or if you need maximum control, you can go with Google Kubernetes Engine. The point is, this bridges that critical gap between a cool prototype and something real. So we've come to the end of our builder's journey. We've seen how ADK really tries to lay down a structured, predictable path for creating some incredibly powerful AI systems. If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. ADK gives you the framework, the specialist workers, and the universal toolbox you need to build really sophisticated multi-agent systems. But, and this is the key, it lets you do it using the same kind of structured patterns that you already know from software engineering. And that really just leaves one final question. The toolkit is there, the workers are ready to go, and the playbook is clear. So what's that complex problem you're going to assemble your first agent team to solve? Thanks for joining this explainer.